folks, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Colorado. You're watching All Up in Your Business, and today we're going to talk about the steps involved if you are looking to get a registered trademark, whether it's for your business name, logo, or slogan. I'm going to walk you through some of the steps involved and how you can get a trademark for your business. Now, I made a pretty similar video to this back in January of 2020, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about is kind of the same as what I talked about back in that video. But you know, a lot of things have changed since then. Not just, you know, worldwide and generally speaking, but with the trademark application process and with the USPTO and how this stuff works. So it's going to be a bit updated because, again, a lot has changed since January of 2020. Before we get into all that fun stuff, if you're new to All Up in Your Business, welcome. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and make sure you click that little bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. You can also check the description to download my free Brandish Ultimate DIY Trademark Guide, where you're going to learn so much more detail about what it means to get a trademark, how you get a trademark, and so much more. And a huge thank you to our friends over at Alliance Virtual Offices for partnering with us for this episode of All Up in Your Business. Alliance gives you everything you need to start and run your business flexibly. Whether you need a professional and credible, commercially recognized business address for your business, or a dedicated phone number for your business, or even friendly professional live receptionist to answer that phone number, Alliance is going to have you covered. And you might be wondering, Aiden, this is a trademark video. What does a business address and phone number have to do with any of this? Stick around, because I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes why your business address and your phone number are important details that you don't want to just overlook when you're dealing with your trademark application. And of course, I am coming at you hot with a very special deal for my All Up in Your Business fam, where you guys are going to be able to save 50% on the setup fee for a new virtual office address with Alliance. That's right, you can save 50% if you use my affiliate link in the description or use the promo code GO180LawCo at checkout. You're going to save 50% on that setup fee with Alliance for a new virtual office address. So thank you, Alliance, and don't forget to check them out using the link in the description. One last quick little thing before we get in all the good stuff. While I am a lawyer, I am not your lawyer. The stuff I talk about in this video and all of my videos really should not be taken as a substitute for personalized legal advice. If you need help with any kind of legal issue, including trademarks, you should consult with an attorney. Don't just rely on free stuff that you find on the internet and YouTube. All right, let's get into how to trademark your business name or your business logo or slogan. This really applies to any kind of trademark that you want to register in the United States with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The very first step, before we even go to USPTO.gov, before we start looking at the trademark application, before we start prepping for it, we want to make sure that we're dealing with something that's worth trademarking, something that's worth registering a trademark for. Not all trademarks are created equal. There's a sliding scale of strong and weak trademarks. On the very weak side of that scale are generic and descriptive trademarks. These are ones that just have kind of generic everyday words in them, maybe very descriptive words, and there's nothing else that's very distinctive about this trademark. It's kind of just a normal word or something that describes the goods and services that we're dealing with. Let's say I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer and I want to register a trademark for my law office. If my law office is Legal Services of Colorado, that's a pretty weak trademark because it's just describing what I'm offering. I'm a law office offering legal services in Colorado. It's merely descriptive, and for the most part, it's merely weak as well. On the other end are these very strong trademarks, which are typically going to be arbitrary or suggestive trademarks. These are not generic, they're not merely descriptive, they're often made up words or kind of combining a few words or using a word that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're selling. A good, easy, suggestive or arbitrary trademark might be Apple for computers. Sure, Apple is a normal word. We use it to describe the fruit apples. But when used with computers or technology or cell phones, all the things that Apple sells, except for apples. When applied to those things, apple is a pretty strong trademark. So we want to make sure we're dealing with at least a kind of strong trademark, because if it's a totally generic trademark, it's not really a trademark at all. It's just a generic term, and it may not even be eligible to register as a trademark with the USPTO. Once we've decided, all right, we've got a pretty good trademark here. It's not generic. It's not merely descriptive. It's something distinctive, something good that we want to make sure we protect. Again, before we even get to that application, we want to do a little searching, a little investigation, find what else is out there to see if there's anything that's going to get in the way of us getting this trademark registration. There are a handful of different ways to do this. The easiest place to start is with Google or your favorite search engine. Type in the business name that you want to use as a trademark. See what else comes up. If you're finding, oh, there's a business right here that is exactly the same as the business name that I want to use, and they're selling exactly the same products or services, that might be a little red flag that, ooh, maybe we're not in a good position to move forward with this trademark application. It's also a good idea to search for domain names and social media accounts to see if your trademark or something similar to it has been, taken on domains and on social media handles. See if those things are available, because let's say even the trademark's available, you can register the trademark, but if the social media handles are all taken up, there's something good that you can use for your trademark, for your business on social media, then again, you might want to revisit, maybe change it up or find something else that you can use. So we want to check the internet. We want to check, make sure the domain's available, social media handles are available. It's also a really good idea to go onto the USPTO website at uspto.gov and use their trademark electronic search system, TESS. This is where you can type in your business name, or you can use their design search code to search for logos and other design marks. See if something else comes up that is the same or similar to the trademark that you're interested in. A quick little demo here. Let's say I wanted to register a trademark for All Up in Your Business. I'll type that into the TESS search bar, see what else comes up. Oh, look at that. There's 2 registered trademarks for All Up in Your Business. What are the chances? I wonder what that's about. Now, if I was going to use this All Up in Your Business trademark for, I don't know, maybe a YouTube channel that talks about business stuff, I want to know, is this registration or either of these registrations being used for something that's kind of similar to that? And oh, look at that. This one's for a law office. This one's for a continuing program about business stuff. I probably can't get a trademark registered for All Up in Your Business because I've already seen that these 2 here are pretty similar to what I want to do. Ideally, the best way to do a search like this is with a very thorough, comprehensive search. Because even when we're using TESS on the USPTO, that search is going to pull up just direct hit matches. So it's going to pull up only things that are identical to the trademark that I type in. But we're not just focusing on identical marks. We need to look outside of that. So the best thing is to use some kind of search tool. There are a lot of different companies and services out there that can do a comprehensive trademark search. Now, the drawback to this, if you're not a trademark lawyer, if you don't have legal training, what you're going to get when you order one of these comprehensive searches, you're going to get a comprehensive search report that can probably be many, many pages long, hundreds of pages long potentially, and it's just going to be trademark after trademark after trademark after trademark, and you might not know what to do with it. You need to have some idea of what you're actually looking for so you can analyze and see what these search results actually mean for me. So really, you can do the comprehensive search, order that on your own, but ideally you would go through a trademark attorney, someone who knows what they're looking at in this search report. They'll be able to do that search for you and then actually look at the results, analyze them, and then advise you on how these might affect your trademark application moving forward. Now, I told you we're not just focusing on identical trademarks. What the USPTO, the trademark office, and what kind of trademark law in general, what we think about when we're comparing trademarks is a likelihood of confusion. Is there a likelihood of confusion between these 2 trademarks? And that comes down to the similarities of the trademarks themselves. So the similarities of the words or the logo itself. How closely similar are these? But but it also means how closely related are the goods and services that are associated with each trademark. So if you find something in your search that is identical to your trademark or maybe very similar, but it's being used or registered on something that's completely unrelated to what you're going to be using your trademark with, that might not be a huge issue. That may not be a hindrance to your trademark application or your use of the trademark. On the flip side, if we find something where the trademark itself is kind of similar, like we share a few words, you know, a similar when it's spoken aloud, maybe I changed the spelling of my trademark, but when spoken aloud, it sounds exactly the same. And the goods and services are the same. Or if they're very closely related, if you might go to a store and you'll see this person's product and your product next to each other being sold by the same merchant or by the same store, that might still be too confusingly similar, and boom, you don't get the trademark registration. So there's a lot that goes into this likelihood of confusion thing. That's why the search is so important, because we want to make sure if we're submitting this trademark application, are we actually going to have a good chance at getting it registered? All right, so we have decided it's worth it to pursue this trademark registration. We have determined that the trademark is available for us to register in the United States. So let's move on to the trademark application process itself. A question that I get asked an alarmingly high number of times. I wish I didn't hear this question, but I do. It's what's the best website to register a trademark at? There is no best website. There is one. There is one singular website where you will submit a trademark application to register your trademark. That is USPTO.gov, directly through the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Any other third-party websites that tell you you're submitting a trademark application, it's either a scam or it's some filing service, and they're then going to use your info to submit the application. You'll be paying more for that. So if you're doing it yourself, then do it yourself. Go to USPTO.gov. That's where the application is. A new step in the process that wasn't around in 2020 when I made a last video of this nature is that you're going to have to create an account with the USPTO. This is pretty standard. We've all created accounts with different websites. So you're going to register online for I think it's a myuspto.gov account. Get your account set up. You're also going to have to go through the ID verification process. Another new thing that the USPTO has launched to try to crack down on fraudulent applications, fraudulent trademark registrations. We have to verify our ID. The process for this can be somewhat complicated. You have to submit a few documents to verify who you are, go through a few different steps. So you'll want to review some of the details on the USPTO website and go through that process to do the ID verification as well. One other relatively new thing is that if you are not domiciled in the US, so if you as a person or your LLC or your corporation as a business, if you don't have a physical and permanent address in the US, the USPTO is going to consider you a foreign domiciled applicant, and foreign domiciled applicants have to be represented by a US licensed attorney. So this isn't going to be a problem if you live in the United States, if your business is based and has a headquarters in the United States, if you have a US address, this isn't going to be a problem. But if you don't, then you're most likely going to have an attorney help you through this process. You won't be able to do it without an attorney representing you through it. But for our purposes, we're pretending we're all US domiciled. That's not going to be an issue. So let's start walking through the actual application itself. First, we're going to need to decide which style of application to use. Currently, the USPTO has the TESS Plus and the TESS Standard applications. The applications themselves are pretty much the same. There are just a few more requirements for the TESS Plus application. You have to give them some kind of additional info up front versus the TESS Standard application, where you can kind of save that info and give it to them later on in the process. But for the TESS Plus application, the benefit is that it's cheaper. The filing fee for the TESS Plus is $250 per class of goods and services versus the TESS Standard, which is $350. Most of the time, and for applicants who don't have an attorney helping them, the TESS Plus application is going to be the best one to use. Then we're going to go into the application and start entering our owner information. This is the info about the owner of the trademark. If you're operating as a sole proprietorship or just under a DBA, you haven't formed a business, then you would apply as an individual. If you have formed an LLC or a corporation, then you can select the appropriate entity type, and that would be the name of the owner on the application. You're also going to have to provide some additional contact info like your address, phone number, and email address. Now, keep in mind, as soon as you submit this application, this info becomes public record, and really anybody can search the USPTO database. They can find your trademark application record, and they can see everything that you put on there, including your address, email, phone number. So if you're like many of us and you're working from home, that means your home address is gonna be on there on the application. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want that to happen. So this is a situation where getting a virtual office address, like the one that you can get through our friends over at Alliance Virtual Offices, is really going to benefit you, because you can use that virtual office address as the business address, or even as your personal address if you're applying as an individual, and keep your home address off of the public record. If you don't want your cell phone number to be publicly available, you can sign up for a dedicated business phone number through Alliance Virtual Offices and use that instead. You're probably, well, not probably, but you may start getting some kinds of spammy calls to that number regarding your trademark application, because that kind of thing happens. And so maybe you don't even want to answer those calls. And that's where the receptionist service through Alliance Virtual Offices is going to come in super handy as well. And really, if you're at the point where you're registering a trademark for your business, if that's important to you, then I would imagine that all other aspects of your business are going to be important. So having friendly, professional, live humans answering your business phone for you, it's going to improve your credibility. It's going to improve the way your business looks to your customers. And most importantly, it's going to save you time, because you're not going to be answering the phone all the time. You can hand that off to someone who can do it better than you, and you can focus on the things that you do really well. Anyway, all that to say, if you don't want your home address, your home phone number, your cell phone number to be publicly available, then using a service like Alliance is going to be a good option to keep that info off of the public records. And don't forget, you can save 50% on the setup fee with Alliance Virtual Offices if you use the promo code and affiliate link in the description. Then we're going to go into the mark information, the good part of the application. This is where we tell the USPTO what the trademark is. So if we're dealing with a standard character mark like a business name, type that into the application. If we're dealing with a design like a logo, upload an image of the logo, and you'll have to provide some additional description and information about what that logo design consists of. On the next page of the application, we're going to have to identify the goods and services that we're going to be using the trademark in conjunction with. We're not just registering this trademark and we're going to own it in every single form throughout the world. No, our trademark rights, our trademark registration really only applies to the goods and services that we identify on the application and any natural extensions of those goods and services. But so you can use their ID tool to find the appropriate goods and services that accurately describe the goods and or services that you'll be using with your trademark. Again, let's say I was doing a law office. I could type in legal services and I'll see a whole big mess of options for legal services and pick the best one that fits in with my business. Keep in mind the USPTO filing fee, again, is for the TESS Plus application. It's going to be $250 per class of goods and services. So when you're looking up all the goods and services, you're going to see an international class number associated with each of those descriptions for the goods and services. For legal services, I think that's class 35. I can pick as many descriptions within class 35 as I want to, all for that one filing fee. But if I'm doing other non-legal services, maybe I'm making YouTube videos, those are going to fall under a different class, and so there will be an additional $250 filing fee if you're doing multiple classes. We're also going to need to let the USPTO know what our filing basis status is. Typically for most of us, this is going to be either current use or intent to use. Current use means we are currently using the trademark in commerce in connection with the goods or services that we've identified. That means we are actively selling our stuff, our products or our services. It's out there in the public. People can purchase them and access them, and when they do, they encounter our trademark in that process. We're using it in commerce. Current use is going to be that 1A filing basis versus 1B, which is the intent to use, which means we're not currently using it in commerce, but we have a bona fide intent to do so. So in a nutshell, if you've already launched your business, if you're already up and running using the trademark, then you're 1A current use. If you haven't quite launched yet, then you're probably 1B. And if you file under the 1A filing basis, you'll have to give the USPTO some additional info, upload a specimen demonstrating how you're using that trademark in commerce. You're gonna have to also let them know about your date of first use of the trademark in commerce. We've gotten that all out of the way, filled out our mark information, our owner information, our goods and services, and our filing basis. Now we just have to sign a few things, promise and swear to a few things that we're, not submitting fraudulent information, we're not lying to the USPTO, then hit submit and pay our glorious USPTO fees, and you're pretty much done with the application process at that point. As soon as you submit the application and you've paid that fee, you'll get a receipt of your filing along with a serial number for your application. And that serial number is what you'll then be able to use to look up the status of the application, or if you ever need to refer back to it, that serial number is gonna be what you're gonna wanna use. Now, after you submitted the application, what's the rest of the process gonna look like? Well, for about currently 8 to 10 months or so, absolutely nothing's going to happen. This process takes some time, you guys. And with all of the changes that have happened since 2020, it's turned out to take even longer than it used to. Currently, no one even looks at your application at the USPTO. No one sets eyes on it. No one even touches it for about 8 to 10 months, closer to 10 months currently. So, after you submit that application, there's going to be lull where nothing's going to happen. We're just waiting for the USPTO to go through their process. Then eventually a examining attorney is going to be assigned to your application. They'll evaluate it. They're going to do their own search, see if it conflicts with any other registrations. They might issue office actions, which might be a refusal or a rejection to register your trademark for some reason. Some of these office actions are more procedural. They might want some additional information. You might need to correct something here or there. Either way, the examining attorney is going to go through their whole process, and hopefully, ultimately, it will result in a trademark registration. Now, another word of warning after you submit this application. Remember, I told you no one at the USPTO is even going to set eyes on it for at least 8 to 10 months. But you know what is gonna happen sooner than that? You're gonna start getting scam and spam communications mailed to you and emailed to you, possibly via phone. I haven't heard of that happening, but it wouldn't surprise me. You are gonna start getting letters and emails saying, hey, you submitted this application. We need you to pay this amount of money to this company that kind of looks like the USPTO, but it's not the USPTO. Ignore it all. Ignore it all. Anything, quite literally anything that you get in the mail, and mostly via email, if it's not coming directly from the United States Patent and Trademark Office in Alexandria, Virginia, or via email from uspto.gov email addresses, it's garbage. Throw it in the trash. There's a guy on TikTok, he's French, what does he say? À la poubelle. À la poubelle. If it comes from anywhere other than the USPTO directly, à la poubelle, it's garbage, throw it in the trash. Ignore it, do not send money. Don't send money to anybody. The USPTO is not gonna have you mail in checks. They're not gonna have you wire transfer money, I can guarantee that. And if you're ever unsure, either talk to a lawyer or call the USPTO. If your application has been assigned to an examining attorney, you'll have contact info for the examining attorney. Call them if you're not sure if something you got is legit. I actually don't know if they'll answer. I would assume they would. Whatever. The USPTO is going to have some kind of a customer service if you're totally not sure. Anyway, that's a kind of simplified summary of what this trademark application and registration process looks looks like. It's not always going to be very easy. In fact, more often than not, it's not going to be very easy. The application itself, when we're looking at it, looks pretty straightforward, but there are lots of ways that we can screw it up. We can put information in correctly or not give info the way that it needs to be presented, and we can't always fix those issues or mistakes. Sometimes we have to, just dump this application we've submitted and go back and redo it because the first one wasn't good. So, it is possible to do it on your own as long as you are a US domiciled applicant, but it's not always easy. It's very common that you're going to run into issues where you're most likely going to need some assistance from an attorney. And so, of course, I always recommend that you seek the help of an experienced trademark attorney if you're trying to get a registered trademark. Don't try to do it yourself. But if you insist on doing it yourself, then I've got a little extra help and resource for you, because I know not all of you listen to me when I tell you don't do it yourself. You're still going to go do it yourself. But that's why I created Brandish, DIY Your Trademark Application, which is my online course where I teach you step by step how to do all of this on your own without a lawyer, from start to finish, from that clearance search, actually from even deciding if your trademark is strong and worth registering, the clearance search, the application, dealing with office actions, and everything after that you'll find in my online course, Brandish. You can check that out using the link in the description. And don't forget to download my free Brandish guide as well for some extra tips. That's all for this episode, folks. If you learned a thing or two, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you didn't already, and click the little bell so you get notified when I post a new video. And of course, be sure to check the description for that affiliate link and promo code to save you 50% on the setup fee for a new virtual office address with Alliance Virtual Offices. If you want to keep your home address or your cell phone number private, you don't want to blast it all over the USPTO website, then check out Alliance, because their virtual office address services and their live receptionist services are going to help you avoid that from happening. So check the link if you want to save 50% on the setup fee with Alliance Virtual Offices. We talked about how the application you're going to have to provide, if you're filing on a 1A current use basis, you're going to have to provide them with a specimen of your use of the trademark and let them know about your date of first use. If you're wondering, Aiden, what's a specimen or what's my date of first use? Don't worry, dear watcher, I have you covered, because I've made videos on specimen and date of first use. You can check them out here. I'll meet you over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.